Just keep playing the next play. Just play the next play and see what happens. And they continue to do that. We made plays on offense, defense, and special teams. And at the end of the deal, we were up. And that's all that matters. Dadgum, I knew if our offense had the ball with whatever, we had a chance.
And everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something about it. And I won't answer.
And you are better
Now who he gonna get and what he gonna do? Run up on me if you want to.
This is Cody Hawkins here with the Coach Cody Crane Show this week, brought to you by Hunt Custom Homes. Well, Coach, we got through Canton 63-21. I know that was a huge win for you guys, man. Momentum shift several during the ball game. What's the team's mentality after that win Friday night?
Well, and kind of what we talked to them about today, you know, we reflect and a lot. Mm-hmm. And as I continued to reflect, you know, I thought back about their offensive line, evaluating them going into the football game. They were big. Mm-hmm. There was a coach's son who is a great leader. They were great finishers on their blocks. Thought their outside receivers were phenomenal. Number 10, which was a slot receiver. Mm-hmm. So as we evaluate their offensive and defensive personnel, they were good. And during the fourth quarter, we took over. So something, the way we prepare, maybe the you know, the things that we do, just the toughness that we've had in the fourth quarter, we were very pleased with. It is not a job well done. It is a job well done up to this point.
Absolutely.
Very, very proud of them.
You know, Thomason, 29 of 47, 413 yards. Man, even after an interception there in the flat that time, always looked cool under pressure. Man, Thomason is he's obviously the leader of this football team on the offensive side of the ball. Man, how do you explain his calmness and maybe cool under pressure?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
To tell you the honest truth, how about that?
Yeah.
So I still think Jason is developing and figuring out who he is as a football player and a quarterback. Yeah. You know, he has had, this is his third game since a freshman that he has real game experience. And so he had over 100 yards rushing, scored 2 rushing touchdowns, I believe. And I don't know, he's a Ford Tough Player of the Week.
I was going to let you announce that.
And so, you know, but to do that, you know, a couple years ago, watching Texas Tech, I saw one of their quarterbacks throw a swing pass, and that receiver go 70 yards, and the quarterback said 70 yard, or the announcer said 70-yard touchdown pass by the quarterback. Well, no, he kind of threw it straight that way, and the receiver went. So he had to have a lot of protection to help. Our receivers are playing really good. I think I know that's an offensive team award, but yes, he's developing still, and just getting to know who he is as a football player.
You know, the RPO was a big player for him, you know, 100 yards rushing, like you said. 219 total. He was leading rusher 100 yards. Were you surprised the way you talked on, they were big on the defensive line, the way that y'all ran so well against Canton, and then with Bullard there was a little bit of a stutter in the run game.
It was an emphasis, you know, and we emphasized it, and that's what we've talked so much this week is be detail oriented, whether it's a first step, whether it's head placement, whether it's you know, just understanding, but we've got to be detail oriented as a football coaching staff and as a football team. And so with that emphasis, I think our offensive line coaches did a great job. Obviously, our offensive line did a great job, blocked well, finished blocks, continued. And so, yes, it very proud of them because that was a point of emphasis.
You know, one thing that we said during the broadcast that I think definitely one thing we can tell that y'all preach is the way these receivers block downfield. It's when you see it from our angle up high, it's crazy to watch when they look behind them and see that Lemonin or Lamont or Wastrick or whoever has the ball, they go into complete blocking mode.
And the other day, and I don't remember exactly how it transpired, but Jaden Linneman and I were having a conversation, joking around, and I said something about he couldn't block, and I mean, he turned on like a light switch. He was mad, and And I wasn't even talking about
Yeah.
that really, but you could tell how personal our kids take and how much pride they take in blocking for their teammates downfield, and that is awesome to see.
You know, speaking of Wasserich, number 3, got him involved down at goal line, a couple big plays when they did draw double on 15 or 2. That is something you and I talked about that kind of worked out in our favor in some goal line situations.
Great for him, great for us. Great to see just another spoke in our offensive wheel that we're very proud to try to get going.
You know, going to the game, Canton hadn't really thrown for a lot of yards. Were you surprised that Bowes boy dropped back so many times in that game?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We really were. I mean, we were preaching stopping the run all week, and which we needed to. We knew they could throw it, but they didn't try to, and they were even at times a little awkward doing it, but they weren't awkward on Friday night.
No.
They dropped back, they delivered it. Receivers caught it very smooth, you know, like the RPO to score the first touchdown. That is a really good play design. That's really good play execution out of the quarterback, offensive line, and number 10 as well.
You know, a couple times during the game out in the secondary, we saw definitely had some height advantages. Number 4 kept running that sluggo route to the inside. He was open quite a bit. Is that another thing at practice this week y'all worked on?
That's a good route.
Yeah.
That's a really good route. And you know, whenever he comes inside like that, we got to do some things a little bit different. So yes, we got to work on that and shore up those zones.
You know, halftime, kind of a 35-35. When people see that final score, they're thinking, oh, them Canton points were mop-up time. Y'all went in halftime, and y'all came out hype, and they kind of looked a little flat from our angle. Were you surprised before half with 3 timeouts and 40 seconds they kneeled on the ball?
I was very surprised. And I think, you know, and that's just, I think the way that we finish halftime is so important for the second half. And so, you know, we were in an offensive game, so Coach McDonald always knows that he needs to check with me whenever we have the ball right before half. And I told him to go because I thought an extra touchdown would be big. Well, we ended up giving the ball back to them. And then whenever they were content just to go to halftime, I was ecstatic, you know, because they were rolling and had some momentum and had shown they could score quick. And so whenever they did that, I was ecstatic.
I know you've been asked 100 times about the onside kick penalty, so I'm not going to bring that up. That's a whole other thing. But did you realize it was a little bit of a rivalry? There was a big game feel, and both teams played hard. You know, with realignment coming up, could this possibly be a district game next year?
You know,
maybe?
I think it could, and I don't know. I was talking to Coach Settle from Sunnyvale about that, and this will be my second realignment in this area, and just trying to get a feel for everything. We had several of the Dallas ISD schools opt up, so they had 4A Division II numbers, and they opted up into 4A Division I. So we had heard at some point the UIL said they're not going to let all those numbers go because a lot of 5A Division IIs opted up, a lot of 4A Division IIs opted up. So what that did is that stretched the bottom of 4A to the top of 4A
Gotcha.
Big time. Because with all those schools opting up, they had to raise that number to get enough 4A Division II schools. Well, in turn, they had to raise that number to get, so it just made, and so for basketball, baseball, all that, I don't know. I guess I'm making a short story long, but I don't know what that's going to look like. I just hope we can continue to play as we move forward.
You know, Waxahachie Life, of course, people are kind of, if they saw their schedule and didn't follow us last year, supposed to be played there last year, got canceled because of COVID situation. 1-2 on the year. They're coming in off beating North Dallas 35-0 last week. Stat-wise, man, they have a lot of kids that do a lot of things. It seems to be everything by committee.
They do. They have, you know, multiple running backs. They have receivers that they roll in and out. They all play the same position. You know, we know which guy is their dive fullback. We know which guy's their pitch back, or which guys. But yeah, they roll a lot of people in and out and do a good job with it, keeping their people fresh.
Well, Friday night, it looks like number 24, Brantley, was kind of the bell cow of the running backs. Had 78 yards. They rushed for close to 300.
Right.
But that was, like you said, that was 7 or 8 kids touching the ball. Is that, as a coaching staff, they're going to have a fresh back in it, you would think, at least every other play.
Right.
Is that something that you guys think about when
Yes,
depth becomes an issue, maybe fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we try to do. And we think we won the fourth quarter last week.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, but that's what we want to continue to do. That's what we want to have pride in. And as we move, we'll play bigger schools that have, you know, just like life, they're a Division I school, so probably will have more players and more depth. And those are things that we just got to handle and handle that with our toughness that we talk about all the time.